Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to Repose. A few things we're going to talk about today. Some not exactly new information if you follow other sources religiously, but we're here to give you the thoughts and opinions of some random down-to-earth gamers, and one not so. Well, you get the point. My name is Killian, and I will be your host. I want to talk a little about monetization in the video game industry today, but in order for you to hear the rest of the host's intros, you're going to need to buy them.
What? The fuck?
For only $5, you can meet the chick that just headshotted you 3 times in a row in Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Jaden Knight.
And I'm just a reskin. And you can buy me for $15.
I can't breathe. I'm assuming that's Tiago, by the way, in case anybody doesn't know who he is.
Tiago.
I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with that one. That was good.
I can't.
Oh, I hate you guys.
Monetization. What is it? Who is it? What is it? Why do we want it? Who needs it? Everybody.
What has everyone been up to?
I have been waiting patiently for Fallout 76. That's what I've been doing.
Is that all you've been playing? Is Fallout or?
Actually, that, and I did play a little bit of Wise. If that's how people pronounce it. That's how I've always pronounced it. It's Wise 8. I've been playing a little bit of that here and there.
That's the RPG, right?
It's East 8.
I say Wise, so you can suck my dick.
It's East 8. Formosa of Dana.
How's it spelled?
YS.
YS.
It's yes.
It's Wise.
What?
It's yes.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Tiago, what have you been up to?
I've been playing a lot of Soul Calibur still.
Have you been utilizing your gamer goo?
The gamer goo, like, the thing that I've noticed about gamer goo is, like, you have to really use it with, like, a good maybe five or like a good 10 minutes before you actually start playing, and sometimes I forget.
So what you gotta do is take it to work with you, and then just use it at work, and then by the time you get home, you're good.
What?
That's what gets HR called on you.
What does that even do?
He means get ready to get your hands ready and soft and supple and not as sticky as when it first goes on.
I don't want my hands are naturally soft and supple. I don't want them to be soft and supple. That's the thing. That's why you use gamer goo to get.
Or you could just glue sandpaper to your hands. Either way.
Oh yeah. So how is Soul Calibur?
Soul Calibur is great. Sometimes I want to climb through the my TV and but it's really fun. I love it. Then, like, on my days off, like, I play a little bit of Dragon Quest. That's still fucking amazing. That game is so long. But yeah, that's what I've been kind of up to.
Jaden, you don't play any fighting games, do you?
Not anymore. I used to.
I've been playing a ton of The Forest. It's Forest.
Is it?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's survival / building simulator. You're dropped off in a forest, believe it or not, and you just try to make it so that you can survive and find a way to escape. So far, the only way I know to escape the forest is making an SOS signal on the floor with a ton of rocks. I haven't tried that yet though, because I don't know. I'm just trying to chill for a little bit.
So you're telling me that you're in this forest I'm assuming it's a fairly dense forest.
It is pretty dense, yes.
And you're making an SOS thing.
Well, we're trying to.
No, just wait. Hold on. So you're in a densely packed forest, and you're making an SOS sign out of rocks in a forest.
Yeah.
That somebody is supposed to see.
Somehow.
Gotcha.
This forest is in an island, by the way. It's a pretty big island, but I mean there are beaches you can go to, I'm assuming, and if you find like a good clear spot to put the rocks down, maybe somebody will fly by and do something. I don't know. That's the extent of it.
So it's like a survival horror?
Yeah, there's a lot of bald, crazy people chasing me all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like 2 years ago, I saw like gameplay of that video, and I was just like, who on earth would play this? Like, and here we are, you playing
and
it.
now we know.
I dipped my toes into The Witcher 3, finally.
How is it?
It's really good. I'm scared because I feel like I'm gonna become enthralled with this game.
I was gonna say I'm surprised that you have just dipped your toes into The Witcher 3 and you're still playing The Forest, because that's not right.
I'm trying to pace myself with The Forest, and The Witcher, and just everything that I'm playing right now. I'm just trying to like take it easy because.
What else are you all playing? Like, this is your thing. This is why you end up in this situation. Just play like the one or the two games. Like you play like a million different things, and then you don't play, and then you end up not playing anything because you're always playing everything.
I guess
that's very philosophical right there. That's some deep shit.
And I also dipped my toes into the Sea of Thieves.
See what I mean?
Literally just dipped my toes. I did not get anywhere into that because water. But anyways,
I am not a fan of that game.
Have you tried it?
Well, considering I just said I'm not a fan of it, I'm gonna go with yes, I have.
I mean, you're not a fan of Minecraft, right?
Yes, because I've watched it being played, and I would rather stab myself in the eyeball repeatedly with a rusty spork than play Minecraft.
You know what's funny? Minecraft has been talked about on every single episode thus far.
Whose fault is that?
It's not mine. Craft.
I didn't just. Oh my fucking! I hate you. I hate you so much. You're fired.
Before we get into our main topic, let's talk about some upcoming games real quick. Have you guys heard about the supposedly Legend of Zelda game that's gonna be coming out soon? Well, not soon, but there's been talks. Nintendo has published a new job listing that further confirms the development that has already begun another Legend of Zelda game. It doesn't say whether it's a new IP, not new game or anything. It's just a new listing, so it could be, for all we know,
nothing.
From what I understood, they posted a listing for a new Zelda game to start work on a new Zelda game. It is in development, but what I heard is that from what I read, I'm sorry, it's not clear yet if it's a new Zelda game for the Switch or if it's going to be a Zelda game, a new 3DS Zelda game, which could be very likely.
Oh, that's true.
Why don't they just let the 3DS die?
Because a ton of people still play the 3DS.
Port all the games to the Switch. Done.
And sell it again. Make all the profits.
Well, it is Nintendo. I'm surprised we haven't had a new version of the 3DS come out this year already.
True. Well, I mean, they might be preparing for it because recently there's been a bunch of crazy sales on the 3DS and stuff, so hey, you never know.
Yeah, don't speak now, because you never know. The year's not over yet. But if you're a Legend of Zelda fan, be sure to look out. I think I might be the only one who is into Smash Bros. In here.
I mean, I like Smash. I just haven't played. The last Smash game I played was on GameCube. I'm not a Nintendo person, but I will be playing this Smash.
I hate anyone that calls it Smash Bros.
Well, I know that's a lie because you don't hate me.
Mm-hmm.
Why you hating?
But yeah, Smash. I'm looking forward to Smash.
They had their last Smash Direct, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really amped. I got the limited edition console version of the game. I wanted a Switch. I needed a Switch. I got it, and it's still in the box.
You are a failure.
Are you going to unveil it for Smash only?
I mean, there's no point in me unveiling it right now because I don't have any other games for it. I am planning on getting Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, great game. So good.
But I'm waiting to see if there are any sales. Which...
The frugal one.
I am really frugal.
I am too.
I just buy shit. And then I realize I don't eat that month, which is fine because gaming sustains me.
Who needs food?
Like I haven't personally purchased Octopath myself either. I did play it for quite a few hours and did a couple of the but I have like my progress saved and I'm just waiting to see if it kind of drops a little. But yeah, definitely planning to pick that one up again once I buy it.
Music in games usually draws me in, and I've been hearing really good things about the music on that game, and
it's so good. It's amazing. I love it. The characters are also fantastic.
So, Jaden, tell us about Fallout 76.
You need it in your life? That's it.
It looks
You're
terrible.
welcome.
It looks like a 360
Your
game.
face looks terrible.
It looks like a 360 game and looks like ass. But
ass butt?
I was playing with Jaden, and I think that's one of the concerns that I had was that it didn't look like a 2018 game.
You mean it didn't look like hyper-realistic graphics? Because it's not supposed to.
I mean, not that it's not supposed to look like hyper-realistic graphics. That's not what my expectations were. But it doesn't even. It's not nice to look at.
It is a post-apocalyptic world. It's not supposed to be nice to look at.
Okay. I'm not even gonna follow this conversation. I'm just gonna leave it right there.
See, this is the thing that bothers me about stuff like this, and this is coming from somebody that everybody thinks I hate Minecraft because it's pixelated graphics, and that's not it at all. Like, graphics are important, but people put too much, in my opinion, put too much stock in a singular aspect of a game. Like, oh, well, the gameplay is fun, and playing with your friends is fun, and the stories are pretty good, but the graphics are terrible, so fuck that game.
That's not what I'm saying, because I play all types of different games with all types of different art styles and anything like that. What I'm trying to say, and I've even played Minecraft, and I feel like the art style for Minecraft, it works great for what Minecraft is. The art style and the models and the just the way that everything looks in Fallout, it looks old. It looks like outdated. You know what I mean? It doesn't, and I feel like every time I play a Bethesda game, it looks. I don't know who's making these games. I don't know, but like they don't look pleasant to look at, and that's fine. You can have a post-apocalyptic setting, and that's I played all types of, like I said, I played all types of with all types of different art styles, graphics, whatever. But Bethesda games, just to me, they're not nice to look at. I find them like rough around the edges.
My thing with Fallout 76, I obviously don't really put much weight into the graphics and whatnot, but what I feel when I play Fallout 76 is that there are so many other games out there who already do what Fallout 76 is trying to do in a way, and I feel like they're doing it
like what?
better. Like just anything, because you got the aiming aspect of Fallout 76, which I didn't really like because it felt kind of clunky. Maybe it's because I was using
what aiming aspect?
Just any gun that I was using a revolver, I think it was. And every time I would aim at something's head or just anything, I felt like it was kind of clunky. I mean, of course, I need to play it more to find out, and I am going to play it more. One thing that I didn't really like was the menus, and I'm sure that this is a thing with like the Fallout games, but the menus was so weird for me. Maybe that's just something I gotta get.
Boy.
Yeah, maybe that's just something I gotta get used to, or I don't know.
The Pip-Boy has been in pretty much every Fallout, so
Yeah.
Now, just to go back a little bit on what Killian said, I don't think there's that many games out there that do sort of that replicate what Fallout does. I think the setting, the gameplay is what makes Fallout games unique and why so many people are attracted to them. Now, yeah, there's a lot of open world games out there that are set in maybe like a post-apocalyptic setting. You can play with your friends and things like that. But in terms of like the Fallout experience, I feel like that experience is very unique to Fallout. Is it an experience that everyone is gonna enjoy? No. And do I have maybe like a biased opinion of the game because I generally don't like Bethesda games? Probably, because I just don't really I'm not really a fan of the things that they make. That's why I'm probably gonna skip this game. But it's a different game, and I feel that because it's multiplayer, a lot of new people are going to try the game, which is great. That's really good for them. People who never played Fallout before will get to play it, and maybe they'll become fans of the game. But it's definitely, I don't think it's a game that is just going to strike everyone well, because I feel like Bethesda games with a lot of people, it's either like a hit or a miss. You're either going to like their games or you're not going to like their games.
Well, all I'm gonna throw out there is it was a beta, which I think a lot of people forget. As far as what you were saying, as far as their kind of like what Blade does, the whole there are a lot of games that do what Fallout's doing. I don't agree with that statement at all. I don't know if you're talking about like just the online playing with your friends aspect of it.
Well,
because that is not unique to anything.
Well, what I'm saying is more in the sense of like the crafting thing, which was one of the things that I was really into, or the base building aspect. It was all right, but that specific portion of it, I felt like other games do it much more cleanly. I'm not, like I said,
What game? Just give me an example.
The Forest, the game that I'm playing right now.
You mean the game that doesn't really have any kind of storylines whatsoever?
Correct.
Or anything else to focus on other than the building aspect?
Yes.
Okay.
But you're saying that the Forest doesn't have any story, but Fallout seems like it doesn't have any story either. There's
you didn't do any of the story.
So are you trying to say, Jaden, that Fallout gets a pass on certain things because they're more focused on other things, like in terms of like balancing?
No, what I was saying is I didn't know what games he was talking about and in what aspect that it did, or in relation to what Fallout does. And the Forest, I've never played it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, from what he was talking about, I assume that there wasn't any kind of like actual story because all he said was the point is to get off the island.
Mm-hmm. Well, so there is a very subtle story, but nothing to call home about.
It's not the focus of the game.
Yeah. Disclaimer, I only played the beta for like 2 hours or so. So when we get the full game and I put more hours into it, I will probably have a different opinion.
I will say that you actually, I mean, you didn't really build a whole lot considering I finished your house for you. Just saying.
I was level 3, I think, when we got attacked.
You know, now that I'm thinking, you know what game really, and Jaden, you may not like this example, but I don't really play a lot of first-person games that are not really my thing. But you know what game Fallout 76 reminded me of.
Fallout 4?
No, because I never played Fallout 4. The only thing I can really compare it to in terms of like what I saw, not everything, certain things, like what I was referencing in terms of like how the game looks and things like that, like where the graphic, like the era that the graphics were coming from, and some of like the crafting and stuff, mechanics and all that stuff. Dead Island.
Oh, okay.
Think about it, because Killian, you introduced me to Dead Island. You played it, so just like jog your memory back to like 2012. I feel like there's a lot of things that are very similar in terms of like
The looting.
I mean, the you know, the looting, the crafting of like the crafting was because, you know, in Dead Island you can craft like all types of little, you find like random items like, oh, let me get this like random bolt and this duct tape, and all of a sudden I have like this giant pipe gun thing, whatever. That's a really rough example, by the way, but that that kind of I was thinking now that kind of reminds me of it. The two worlds are completely different. Dead Island, you're on like a tropical island, like zombies and stuff like that. But that's I felt like a lot of gameplay elements. A few things reminded me now that I was just thinking, and I don't know. I would love to do like a graphics comparison. Not that graphics are super important, but I would love to do a graphics comparison of like a side by side comparison of Dead Island and Fallout 76. Because when I played Fallout 76, now that I'm thinking about it, like it was very Dead Islandy, like in terms of like the way it, like the textures of things and stuff like that. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just like my memory not working too well, but
are you wanting a graphic comparison from what the beta was, or from the full version of the game when it launches?
I mean, the full version of the game. I mean, I played the full version of Dead Island, like the full version of Fallout when it comes out. What, Wednesday, Tuesday night?
Oh yeah, I personally get very defensive, and this is any game that is released as far as a beta goes, and people bash it. I get very defensive about that because betas are handed out like goddamn candy for everything now. Mm-hmm. And back in the day, this is something I don't even think it's around anymore. I was part of the Sony advisory panel, which is I did beta testing for Sony. Mm-hmm. And they would send me, 4 or 5 games, and we would test them, and there would be like almost report things that you would have to fill out. You would try to break the game, but you sent feedback. Mm-hmm. And now all it seems like people do is you get the beta, you play it for, an hour, 2 hours, and then you spend, a month and a half, 2 months or whatever bashing it online. Mm-hmm. Without ever sending any kind of like, hey, criticism. This is the issues that I found. Not even it's not criticism. It's you sending feedback, because that's what the betas are for, is send feedback to the developers. Don't just bash it online so they can fix the goddamn game. Like, that's what the beta is for.
I actually sent some feedback. It was something small because I already saw all the other criticism on the forums. All I said was maybe make it so that when you're gonna spend atoms, is it atoms?
You mean in the store?
Yeah, so that when you're spending that, you can see your modeled character doing the emote, and that was it. Because
in relation to the beta testing stuff and like the way that it is now, I also feel, well, the thing is like now, there are so many things that can be like patched and fixed throughout the cycle, the life cycle of the game. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of like day one patches, fixes and things like that, hot fixes, even going into like the first few months of the games, just from like the information they gathered from the beta. But even now, like once a game is like fully released, they still continue to work, patch things, what's working, what are people not liking, what is working well, that type of thing. So I feel like it's also very different now compared to like when, like the early days of like PS3, Xbox 360, you weren't seeing too many of that, and over the years it's become like more and more.
Let's put out the game broken and we'll fix it when it comes out type shit. I hate that, for the record.
I feel like Bethesda games have a streak for having all types of glitches in their game.
If you want to talk about a company that has a streak, I'll give you 2 letters, E and A.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, are their games like super glitchy and like?
Oh my god, they're broken when they come out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong, Bethesda does have glitchy games. I personally, and I will not dispute the fact that their games have glitches, but I've never run across a broken portion of the game or something that made the game unplayable. Just like randomly, like, oh, I fell through the world. Okay, load, pass, save, we're good. I've had that in almost every video game I've played, to be completely honest.
I think I saw that happen to you on Assassin's Creed.
Yep, it happened in Assassin's Creed.
That rock thing.
She was stuck and she just fell through the world and she was stuck. And then I was like, hey, why don't you just try fast traveling?
Well, you guys played The Division. That's EA.
You know, I didn't have any problem with that game, though.
That's because you played it a year after it came out.
Makes sense.
2 years.
2 years after it came out. And then Rainbow Six Siege was absolutely fucking terrible when it first came out. And it took a year and a half or something like that. And all of a sudden it just blew up and everybody wanted it because they took that long to fucking patch it.
Moral of the story, wait 2 years before you play in game.
No.
So, is Fallout 76 dead? No, it's not out yet. But Prima Games is.
Wow, that was a very clever segue, sir. I applaud you.
So, how do you guys feel about
Prima Games, as in the strategy guide? People?
Yep, they died.
Like gone off.
They're
like
dead.
If I go onto their website,
they're out of business. Like they're not doing it anymore.
Do you feel like the gaming industry has taken a huge blow?
No. I feel that Prima Games took a huge blow from the gaming industry.
Mm.
You can get all that shit online. The only people buying guides are collectors.
Correct.
Some of the guides looked really cool.
Yeah, they went into a route where they were like, okay, we're losing out on selling these guides the way that we used to. What's going to entice people to buy these guides? So let's like make them super pretty. Let's give them hardbacks. Let's put stuff in the guides for the people that want like a full set of something, or like it's a big game. They want like the full collection of whatever. There's a lot of people that do that. But the guides, the Prima game guides, I've had a few throughout my life. They're not always the best.
Accurate.
or accurate, exactly. And then what happens now is what started happening is that they're not going to release a new guide for every patch or for every this was you know what I mean. So it's like you can find a lot of information just by word of mouth now, going online, all that type of stuff. They're not like, oh yeah, well, Final Fantasy 15 also they added 50 hours of content. Here's a guide for that. So it's like, why would you even buy the?
Well,
you know what I mean?
They had to do was start adding like DLC packages to the books.
Oh my god! Shut up.
So what they started doing is, you could get digital versions of the guides for like your iPad and things like that. But even then, like the stuff that you can find on like GameFAQs or like NeoSeeker, like for Dragon Quest, Reddit. Some of the things that are written just by people who some of these like people like us, they do amazing jobs at writing some of these guides and like some of these explanations for stuff way better than
and it's more convenient.
Extremely way more convenient.
Anytime somebody asks me for a guide for a game, I just look at them and go, GameFAQs.com has every walkthrough for every game ever made ever. Yes. And there's a message board where if you can't find something, ask and somebody will answer you while calling you a noob at the same time because it's the internet.
I remember when I bought Dark Souls 3 at GameStop. And the guy was trying to sell the guide to me. And I'm looking at him like, this is Dark Souls. Why would I want a guide for Dark Souls.
Collectors.
Yeah, like there are some guides that I have here that I've literally never opened, never used. I just have like the full thing of the game, like I have Final Fantasy 15, the Ultimate Collector's Edition, and all that. I have literally everything that was released with the game, and I also bought the guide. Have I ever used the guide? No, but it looks super beautiful, and I have it here with like my little Final Fantasy 15 stuff. Never, I looked at it for the art that was in it, and that was it.
And I'm
Same
not trying to say anything about GameStop employees forcing people to buy guides or just telling them to buy guides, because I know
would have
that's
offered you a controller because you break that shit when you're playing Dark Souls.
see, yeah, I know it's their job to try to get the sales. So yeah,
They're dicks.
I mean, here's the thing. It's weird. It's weird that he was trying to sell you a guide because there's so many other things that he could have sold you instead of a guide, which is, I don't know.
I feel like if I wanted, or if someone wanted the guide, they would ask for it, maybe.
Well, here the thing is now, though, so many games are coming out without guides. So
that's true. Yeah, because
for all intents and purposes, he thought maybe you would want a guide because he didn't know that there was one. But anyway, I don't know. I think that it's a chapter in gaming that's kind of closed. I think that other guides will probably go the way of the ghost as well.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, everybody thinks that digital is killing physical copies of games, and it's definitely putting a dent in it, but not as much as what people think it is.
No, yeah, people. There's a ton of people out there that love their physical games.
I love the physical copies.
I love the physical games.
Well, I personally think that the whole gaming industry is going to go down because of Prima Games. So
what?
That's it.
That's it. That was the linchpin right there.
So
Prima Games.
I don't see a reason to continue Game Repose because of Prima Games. So this is the last. No, I'm joking. So Xbox had
$14.99 per minute.
Xbox had a gaming conference today. Thanks, Jaden, for telling me last second so that I can check it out.
I thought you were up on game stuff. I'm sorry.
And so it was very worth watching. I think everyone should take 2 hours of their entire lives just to watch this conference.
Why?
Because how else are you going to know what games they're trying to sell you with the Xbox Game Pass?
It's all not good.
Because reasons? I don't know. Actually, the Xbox Game Pass is not bad. It's not bad. It is just really expensive.
You know, I was looking at some of the things that come. I feel like there's so many like random indie titles that I've never heard of, more than like the games that I want to be playing, that I was just like,
yeah. The big ones that I saw on there that I can remember off the top of my head was PUBG. I think that's it.
PUBG, Halo, Gears of War, all that.
I don't know.
They talked about Just Cause 4, Crackdown 3. I think there's something about keyboard and mouse support being on Xbox One, but it's only going to be for case-by-case basis because it's up to the devs to put it in.
Fortnite is getting the keyboard and mouse put into it.
So is Warframe.
What they're saying at Fortnite is that if you're using a keyboard and mouse, they're gonna mess with the algorithm so that you're going up against players that have keyboard and mouse.
Is exactly how it should be.
Yes. That's why I'm prefacing it, because it is a really, well, I don't know if it's a really big advantage, but there is one.
Yeah, having a keyboard and mouse on a console for shooter games especially is definitely an advantage.
So if you want your Xbox Game Pass, it's $10 a month, right?
It's $100 a year.
Is it?
As far as I don't remember how much it is per month. I know it's $100 a year.
I think it is something like $10 a month.
Where is the money at with Activision? Activision is not a happy camper. They are really upset that Destiny's Forsaken didn't sell well.
You think Destiny players are sick of Activision and Bungie's bullshit?
It made money, but it didn't make all the money. So
no more Destiny.
And we're done.
They're gonna cancel all future expansions. No more Destiny 3. They're gonna make a new IP and call it Destiny.
There. Wow. There was take this with a grain of salt, of course, a noted Destiny leaker by the name of Anon the Nine, who dropped word on Reddit that Bungie has begun work on Destiny 3.
You can't see it right now, but this is my surprise face. Because, we're not making money on this one. Why not make another one reskinned just like the second one?
They're going to have 2 test Eververses this time.
Oh, fuck.
2 tests. No, Fenchurch is going to be there this time.
No, we're going to find out Fenchurch is really the major overarching bad guy of the entire series.
And then you'll be able to buy engrams, not for yourself, but to reskin the NPCs. You'll be able to get reskins of Banshee. You'll be able to get reskins of that fucking sweeper bot.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. How about this, Bungie? Stop it. Stop it.
Can you believe that Bungie made Halo?
No, I can't believe Bungie made Halo after this bullshit.
Get this. Activision said, some of our other franchises like Destiny are not performing as well as we like. Was the exact quote. Followed up by a promise to create more content and pursue additional forms of monetization. Because
when in doubt, people pay for it.
Let's just ask for more money and it'll sell more.
Yeah.
I see it.
Thanks, EA.
Yeah, it's Destiny.
This whole monetization thing in video games in general is getting to be ridiculous. Now, here's the thing. If you want to do cosmetic stuff, fine. That is a choice that you're making to buy that stuff. If you're putting in weapons that have any kind of value as far as damage or anything like that goes, go fuck yourself. That's all I mean, seriously. It's ridiculous.
Like Battlefront 2 did?
Oh my god. Battlefront 2, and I mean, I will even throw Assassin's Creed in there. Origins and Odyssey both had the store.
You can buy like weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing: they are low level, but they can be, if you like upgrade them, they're some of the most powerful weapons in the game.
Okay, I got a quick question for you on that.
No.
How do you do you still feel that way knowing that these are single player games?
I feel worse that they're single player games.
Because they're single player games.
Yes. I do. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's because they know that they're not going to get, like, for example, Odyssey. It has digital content. You can get the season pass. You can do whatever. But if you just get the standard version of the game, because that's all you want. You don't care about the add-on content. You just want the standard version of the game. You pay $60 for it. And then they're like, oh, by the way, you can play the game faster because you can get XP boosts.
Oh, the XP
you can get
boost.
money packs. You can get crafting packs. You can get mounts. You can get different armor. And it's almost like they're spoon-feeding gamers, and that bothers me. Like, here, give us real money. We'll make this game easier for you. Go fuck yourselves. Seriously? Yeah. That's ridiculous. And it's almost insulting to me. Now, if it was a skin, like, oh, I like how that armor looks. Can I skin the current armor that I actually worked for in the game to look like that? That's a choice that I'm making because I have vanity issues, which I don't, but whatever. But the fact that, like, some of the best armor and stuff like that. Now, granted, once again, it starts low level and you have to upgrade it. But if you upgrade it to whatever your max level is, it's literally some of the best stuff in the game. So you can upgrade it by buying those crafting packs. So double-edged sword there. Here, buy this awesome armor that it's going to take you forever to actually get the materials to upgrade. So why not buy pack 2?
I see so many games following this trend.
I know a kid that buys like $150 worth of PlayStation Network credit almost every week to buy Fortnite skins.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of like kids, especially like high school, middle school kids, like just the amount of like I think these kids aren't even eating lunch at school. Like, I'm not even joking. I think they're just like their parents are like, "Oh yeah, here's your, $70 for the week or whatever, $50 for the week for your lunches or whatever." And they're literally just like spending it on like PSN store stuff, Xbox Live stuff for like Fortnite. Like it's crazy. But hey,
I would like to know, other than the we like money, we want more money, if there was a reason or how this whole thing came about. You know what I mean? Like, who decided, like, you know what we need to do? We need to start charging people in-game money or real money for this shit.
I think what happened is that it started off like maybe throughout the midlife of last generation, and a few of these companies saw, holy crap, look at how much money we're making just from these few people. Because there are a few people out there that have spent in the past an absurd amount of money on games, on like additional stuff.
Like one person will spend the equivalent of 1,000 people. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. So they see that, right? So like, let's say they release like this DLC pack item, right? Not everyone's gonna buy it. Or let's say 50 people buy it, right? But let's say 3 of those 50 people will spend like 10 times what one of them does, what one person does.
Mm-hmm.
They see that and they're like, holy crap, off of this one person, we made as much as we did selling to 100. So they're looking for that. They're releasing that stuff, looking for those people that have that money and have that income that will spend that. Like on, for example, especially this happens a lot in mobile games, like Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. I think there was a guy who spent on this mobile game.
I remember the story.
Like $12,000 or $10,000 he had spent on Brave Exvius playing it.
And you know who saw that as an opportunity? Blizzard. Blizzard saw that and they announced Diablo Immortal.
I love how you just went right into that. Yeah.
Diablo Immortal is going to be the best game that comes out when? 2020?
Nobody cares.
What I was hearing.
Nobody cares.
What do you mean? Yeah. How can you not care? It's a mobile game.
That's why I don't care. That's those words exactly, or why I don't care.
That's the thing. So the same thing is that. That's the reason that that mobile game is coming out before whatever the next mainline Diablo game is going to be, because they are hoping and banking on that they're going to release that game, and they're going to get those few amounts of people that are going to spend thousands playing that mobile game, and those people are out there and they will spend that money.
And you know what's the sad thing? That it's probably going to happen. They're going to make millions on the mobile game.
Yeah, because there's so many people in this world with obscene amounts of money that they just buy whatever they want. They're just gonna, here you go. Here's 500 a week for my armor pack.
It's kind of like, well, I mean, that even goes to sports games: Madden Ultimate Team points, FIFA Ultimate Team points, like all of that shit.
Pokemon Go.
I mean, yeah, Pokemon Go.
The amount of money that Pokemon Go is crazy, and parents every time their kids need like another 25 Pokeballs, they're just like, oh, here's like the credit card. It's just like, it's insane.
Because people have no patience for things.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I have no patience, period. But for my money to go into something like that, it like there have been versions of games that have come out, like collector's editions and stuff like that. Like, for example, the Darksiders 3 Ultimate Evil Collector's
Mhm.
Edition, whatever, is $400.
It comes with like the 4 statues or something.
It comes with 4 11-inch statues. Hold
Can I
on.
preface that
No.
it's Darksiders, one word and not 2
Oh.
words?
You're a jerk. But here's the thing, like, if I'm paying that much for something, that game better play its fucking self. Like,
I'm just
Well,
gonna
don't get me wrong,
pay to watch
I am a
this.
recovering collector's edition holic. I have so many statues and collector's editions of things that I have stuff in boxes that can't put out because I have no room for it.
Well, for something like Darksiders, yes, it's $400, but you're buying that because you want those 4 statues, and they're huge. They're like full on, like full size stat. They're not like these little 8-inch, whatever the fuck. These are like really. I saw them. They're nice, and you're getting 4 of them. So, I mean, you know
But
what I
then
mean.
microtransactions. I feel like
Has Darksiders ever had Has Darksiders ever had microtrans? I don't think so.
I don't know. But it, like, the microtransactions just remind me of MTV, which sounds really weird. But the first video that ever played on MTV was video, or what was it? Video killed the radio
The radio
star.
star.
Yeah, microtransactions killed the video game star.
Yeah.
Like, you could be really, really good at a game, but if somebody has more money than you, guess who's gonna win?
Yeah. You know what's also adding to this whole culture? Twitch and streaming.
Oh God.
You know, and not that streamers are, you know, bad people, whatever. They're doing whatever they're doing, making their own living however they want. That's fine. But a lot of these companies, a lot of these streamers have such a strong influence on the audience that's watching them. So like these streamers buy some of this stuff and promote some of this stuff, and the audience, the viewers are eating it all up. So that also promotes a lot of like this culture that we're seeing. So
I don't know. I just think the whole thing is dumb. Diablo was ridiculous.
People are pissed about Diablo.
People like that guy who's like, "Is this a April Fool's joke?" was epic.
Just was wondering, is this an out of season April Fool's joke?
No, it's a fully.
That was so good,
Man.
and he was saying what everybody was thinking.
Do you guys not have cell phones?
A few years ago, for an April Fool's joke, they actually did make a April Fool's joke about a mobile game, and then somebody jokingly, of course, commented that I keep throwing my money onto the screen and nothing's happening. So what Blizzard did was that they saw that comment and they decided that, hey, let's find a way so that people can throw money onto their screen, and we receive it.
There you go, Diablo Immortal.
So okay, so if you have a group of PC gamers and your big thing is a Diablo announcement, you're hyping it up before BlizzCon. You're hyping it up. Why in the hell do you leave a mobile game for the finale?
Because they weren't prepared from what they said to talk about Diablo 4 at all. They weren't prepared to do so, which is weird because they were supposed to. They hinted at it. No, and I'm not even talking like that. They hinted at Diablo 4 specifically.
I know, they did hint at it, and all you had to do was what Bethesda did.
No. I know shut up. No, that was terrible.
They announced the Elder Scrolls 6, right? But all they did was have the little title on the screen. That's all you had to do with.
But that's just it. Is it causes so much confusion because people don't listen at all. Like, for example, Todd Howard flat out said, "This is not coming out on this console generation."
Mm-hmm.
Elder Scrolls 6 will not be out until the next console cycle. But yet everybody thinks that Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out in the next year.
No.
It's fucking not. Stop asking me about it.
I believe in 3 years or so, Starlink will be the next one to come out. And then 3 years after that is going to be another one. Fallout.
Starfall. Starlink is a different game, different IP.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to catch him, too. Good job.
Starfall. And 3 years after that is going to be what? Fallout 5?
Yeah, but that's just it. That all depends on what's going on with Obsidian and Microsoft. Because Obsidian is usually, it goes every other with Bethesda. Like, Fallout 3 was Bethesda, New Vegas was Obsidian, Fallout 4 was Bethesda. Same thing with the Elder Scrolls series. Elder Scrolls 4 was Obsidian, Elder Scrolls 5 was Bethesda, etc.
What you don't do when there's a crowd raging at your business is this.
In terms of Blizzard's approach to mobile gaming, many of us over the last few years have shifted from playing primarily desktop to playing many hours on mobile. And we have many of our best developers now working on new mobile titles across all of our IPs.
Thanks for the stab in the heart there. Appreciate it.
12% immediately after that on their stocks gone.
Good. That's no courtesy reach around for that at all.
Another company that lost a ton of money recently was Square Enix. You guys heard about this, right?
Yes. Yeah, so Square Enix lost about $33 million. They canceled Final Fantasy 15.
Our game of the year.
Game of the year that we love to talk about.
This is our favorite game, by the way, all three of us, collectively.
This is I don't know what the fuck this is, but this is Final Fantasy 15. So let's talk about. I love talking about Square Enix stuff, everything that they've done in the last few years because it's just so fucking crazy. Now, I love Square Enix. Anyone that knows me knows that I love Square Enix. I love Final Fantasy. I love Kingdom Hearts. I gobble up a ton of the shit that they release. Like, I'm just like a fucking rabid dog for this shit, right? Like, just fucking foaming at the mouth. I'm just like, give it to me, Square Enix. I want
Kingdom Hearts soon.
Kingdom Hearts, I can't fucking wait.
I know Jaden especially can't wait. She's
so I love them. But because I love them so much, I'm the type of person, I love expressing tough love, right? Square Enix, they do a lot of great things. They've done a lot of great things when they were Squaresoft. Even at Square Enix, they've done some really cool stuff. But they've also do a lot of fucking stupid shit all the fucking time, and it pisses me the fuck off. Sorry for the language, but it pisses me the fuck off because I like them so much, and they do a lot of dumb shit that I'm just like, why are you doing this?
Why are you doing this?
Yes, Final Fantasy 15 is one of their things that they're doing. So Final Fantasy 15 was in development for a very, very long time. Everybody knows this. What's this guy's name?
You mean Versus?
It was Versus 13. It was 15. It didn't know what it wanted to be a Final Fantasy game, but it didn't even know what it wanted to be. But Tetsuya Nomura, who is probably the most senior director and developer of a lot of their major titles at Square Enix, he was in charge of that project. The game got kind of stuck in development hell. At one point back in 2013, I believe, they basically said Tetsuya, move on to something else, focus on Kingdom Hearts 3. We're going to bring in Hajime Tabata, who has never worked on a mainline Final Fantasy game. This is where it starts. It starts with he's never worked on a mainline Final Fantasy game, and they gave him Final Fantasy 15.
He worked on Crisis Core and what else?
And he worked on a mobile game.
Of course, one of the mobile games.
Yeah. One of their mobile games that was released in Japan. But Crisis Core was a super popular game on the PSP, and people love that game. I personally, I've never played the game, but I kind of watched the game, and there are some things about that. For being a spin-off title of Final Fantasy VII, in some ways, I feel like that game is even superior to Final Fantasy VII story-wise.
I played that game, and I loved that game. It was so good.
Yeah. So Hajime Tabata, they threw him in there, and he basically remade the game. A lot of people, this is what people don't understand. They're like, oh, this game was in development for all these years, and this is what we got. When Hajime Tabata got assigned to this project in 2013, he remade the game. He remade the game in 3 years, and they rushed him. Square Enix rushed and pressured the shit out of him to get the game out of the door because it was like too much at that point. It had already been 10 years. And so that development team was super stressed out. He was super stressed out. I can only imagine the amount of hours they were working. It turned into like this whole, he was trying to compile everything that Tetsuya Nomura had done in the quickest way possible. That's why we got this movie that, the Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive movie. We got the spin-off anime. Yeah, we got the spin-off anime series. We got the story of the game all cluttered into like different little chunks, parts of the story completely missing upon release of the game. Just like the story was just like he tried to piece it together as best as he could in those 3 years and then get the game out the door. But it was because of the pressure that Square Enix put on him and that team to do that. Now, when the game came out and they saw how successful it was, because here's the thing about Final Fantasy 15. In the first month, it sold 5 million copies. I think that was like their best-selling title ever. In their first month, it sold 5 million copies. But I think they did like a survey back in May, or I'm not back in 6 months. I think it was like 6 months after the release of the game. They released results that less than 50% of the people that bought the game finished the game. Had reached chapter 13, finished the game, and saw the credits. Less than 50%. Why? Because if you played that game and you are a Final Fantasy fan, you will realize that is a game with the title Final Fantasy slapped on it. But that is not a Final Fantasy game. That Final Fantasy 15 is not a Final Fantasy game. It is a game, and it's not a bad game, but it's a game that they said, okay, let's just slap Final Fantasy on this so we can sell it. But that shit that they released is not Final Fantasy.
That's what I thought when I was playing it. I was saying that this is an okay game, but it is not Final Fantasy. And the shit that they were doing for it was like they did some things that pissed me the fuck off. Like big features that Final Fantasy games usually have, like summons and magic, and they just slapped it on. They just slapped that stuff onto it.
Yeah. Now I don't want to make them, like, this development team seem like the bad guys, because these people, like, were he came out after the game released and he spoke about like the conditions and stuff like that, and it was to the point where they were like living there, to like living at these studios, going weeks without seeing their families at time, just like working on this game.
Isn't that normal in Japan?
It is normal in certain instances, but this was like a long period. This was years of like that type of environment to release this game. You know what I mean?
He specifically said that he was overworked, but he was happy. But I'm not sure if he was actually happy.
Yeah. He remembers saying he remembers like having conversations with his kids. His kids basically, he wasn't seeing like his family or anything like that. And he was saying that the things that kind of kept them motivated were just like the letters that they would get from their family members and things like that, and all of that. But he wanted, once the game was released, he wanted to make it up to everyone, and he got because the game sold so well, he got the okay from Square Enix to add on all this DLC. And of course, the corporate side of Square Enix is like, oh, you're not gonna add all this stuff for free. You're gonna charge every piece of DLC. If they want a complete game, the fans are gonna pay for every piece of DLC. So they released, and this is stuff that was crucial to the story of the game. This is why that game's story is so fucked up. Even after they fixed it, it's so fucked up, because they released literally, they took the story, broke it up into like 8 different pieces, and were like, you need to buy everything to get. And even when they did it that way, the story still fucked up, because that's not the way you do it. You don't tell a story that way. It's just,
personally, I played that game twice. I only played it a second time because I was trying to understand like what was happening, like what was going on with the story, and like to see if everything played out right afterwards. And the general consensus, well, at least for me, was that I liked it even less afterwards.
Yeah,
I don't know if I was just jaded by that time, but I was not into it.
There's just huge plot holes in that game's story, and all over the place. But basically, after the first round of DLC, he came out and he said, guys, we're going to continue to work on this game. We are listening to everybody. We have this planned for the third year of Final Fantasy. We're going to release 4 more DLCs, blah 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 blah, and everything was going so well. Square Enix gave him his own studio, Luminous Studio, so he can continue that project. And because the game did so well, they wanted him to just kind of take off and become like one of the next big leaders at Square Enix, making his own games and stuff like that. What has happened in this last year, I can only imagine. But for someone like Hajime Tabata, and he's not my favorite. He's not. He's made a lot of choices that for me, I'm just like, ugh. But I know he worked really hard. But for him to resign, literally a year after they gave him his own studio, to resign, he chose to leave after Square Enix gave him his own studio, which is like a huge fucking deal. That is a sign that whatever Square Enix, the corporate side, was doing to him, or what was happening in his studio, it was to the point where he was, he probably just said, "Fuck this! I'm going off on my own, and I'm going to do my own thing." That's when when he resigned, he said that he was going to start his own studio, and he wanted to just work on his own games and do his own thing. And I completely respect that opinion, because as being a creative person, being an artist, like having that type of pressure from like a corporate entity like on you is just like insane. But like when I see stuff like this, it makes me so mad at Square Enix, because like Square Enix has all the tools and all the elements to make these amazing Japanese RPGs that people all over the world love. But I don't know what fuckheads are making these decisions, but it's like they lost $33 million because they had 5 planned DLCs that they had been working on in the last year. And now they can't finish it because he resigned. They got, he basically said, fuck this, I'm tired of your shit, I'm resigning. And now they're like, well, we can't finish any of the shit that we poured money into over the year.
We're just gonna scrap it.
So and they canceled they're not gonna get anyone to finish all the DLCs. Smart on them. That's
except for the
decision.
Arden one. The Arden one is getting finished.
The Arden one is getting finished because that one is complete, I believe. That's why it's getting a release date. But everything else is getting scrapped, which is actually a good decision on them. I know a lot of people are mad about it, but if they got someone else, like a third person, to come in and work on this game, it would just be a fucking shit show at that point. So it's unfortunate, but what basically happened with that is it leaves a lot of things in the air. Like, is Square Enix now going to continue with Final Fantasy 16? What's going to happen?
Well,
blah, blah, blah,
apparently, Luminous is working on their next big thing.
Yes, I think it's a new idea.
The question, well, we don't know that yet, but I think the question is, are we going to get Final Fantasy 16 or are we going to get Final Fantasy Go? So
I see how Final Fantasy Go would work, honestly.
This year, Square Enix has not been doing good. I was looking at the financial reports, and it's negatives. I mean, 33 million is a big amount, obviously, but to them, it's just a drop in. Square
Enix has done a lot of weird things. Excuse me. They bought a lot of different IPs. Like they bought Hitman, then they got rid of Hitman. They have Crystal Dynamics. Crystal Dynamics, for anyone that doesn't know, they're the ones that are making like the new Tomb Raider games. A big thing that happened with Tomb Raider also, and I think this is Shadow of the Tomb Raider didn't do well. For anyone that's who's a Tomb Raider fan,
it did not do well.
It didn't do well, and
Yeah.
I think it's because, and that game is amazing. All these new Tomb Raider games are fantastic, but the reason that I believe, now this isn't like official, but what my thoughts are, and from my perspective, is Shadow of the Tomb Raider was marketed so heavily on Xbox One, which Rise of the Tomb Raider was released. The second entry in the reboot was also released on Xbox One, by the way. No, sorry. Was it released on Xbox 360
They were all
first?
released on the Xbox One.
But the Rise of the Tomb Raider, did that come out on 360 or was that Xbox One only?
It came out on the Xbox One.
Xbox One, okay. So when Rise of the Tomb Raider came out, that was the beginning of the Xbox One console era. And at the beginning, the Xbox One was doing really, really well. It was doing really, really well.
No, it wasn't.
At the beginning.
No, fucking PlayStation was outselling them hand over fist.
No. But when Rise of the Tomb Raider came out, wasn't that, what year was that?
That was like almost 2 years after the console launched.
So that was like what, 2014?
I think about that.
Okay. But I mean, regardless, a lot of people, I feel like back then at that, people were still heavily playing the Xbox One. And then a year later, they released on PlayStation and things like that. My perspective and what I think is that with this Shadow of the Tomb Raider one, it released simultaneously on both consoles, but they marketed it really heavily on the Xbox One that I feel like a lot of people didn't even realize that it came out on the PS4 as well.
I just think that there was a lot of competition happening around that time.
September?
But I do have a question for you, Jaden. When I was looking at the Xbox conference that was just happening, I saw Tomb Raider DLC.
Yeah, there was a season pass that was issued for it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm a sucker for co-op. Co-op for Tomb Raider. How do you feel about that?
Really? You want to play it sometime? Let's do it.
If it is a thing and it seems like it's good, or even if it's not good, I mean, I do want to play Tomb Raider. We can definitely try it out.
Let's do it.
Peeps, we have run out of time, and I just want to say thank you all for joining us on this 4th episode of Game Repose. Thank you all for listening. Like, share, subscribe, comments down below. Show us some love. Thank you.
Don't forget to buy Fallout 76. It's awesome, and they're both wrong.
For all of you listeners, I want to shove my entire heart inside of all of you. Thank you.
Oh my god, and I'm just leaving. I got nothing.
Game Repose is a production of GameRepose.com. This episode was produced by Killian Ace, Jaden Knight, and Tiago. Funding for Game Repose is provided by its host. If you want to support Game Repose, like, share, and subscribe. Game Repose and its host are solely responsible for its content.